Hey there everyone, this is Michael Dougal, your Greater Toronto Area real estate resource, and now that the elections are finally finished, the major question on most buyers and sellers' minds are, is it the right time for me to get in the market? And that's because homeowners that decide to list their property should be aware that they're most likely going to be competing with a number of other listings that are for sale in their neighborhood. And at the same time, buyers aren't sure if it's the right time for them to buy, and that's because of the fact that they just don't know. Could prices potentially decrease more in the future? And something I've learned from being in the marketplace every single day is that no buyer wants to believe that they've overpaid. And the worst feeling for a buyer is to buy a property and realize afterwards that they overpaid because the market had trended downwards there afterwards. And that's exactly what happened in early 2022, where people were purchasing property and now they're trying to sell those same properties for 10 to 15% less than what they had purchased them for. So I'm going to update you with the data here in the Greater Toronto Area and share with you some of my market predictions. And of course, if you are considering buying or selling, make sure to call me. And if you're a real estate agent, make sure to reach out to me to learn more about what eXp Realty can offer you as an agent. And I want to draw your attention to this chart here, which breaks down the different months and the type of market we were in during that specific month. So we can see 2025 March represented a buyer's market. But if we go back to about a year ago, we can see that March 2024 was a balanced market. And what a balanced market means is that the market is not necessarily advantageous for nor buyer or seller. It's balanced in the sense of both parties potentially win. Buyers don't feel like they're overpaying, they have selection to choose from, and sellers don't feel like they're giving their property away at the same time. However, the market that we're currently in, it's not a seller's market, it's not a balanced market, it's a market that's advantageous for buyers, and that's because of the fact that the months of inventory is as high as it is right now. And I've always felt that the months of inventory is a very underrated number when it comes to gauging the overall health of the market. A lot of people tend to look at days on market to determine whether or not we're in a hot market, but just because a listing may be sold fast doesn't necessarily mean that it's sold for a good price. However, if we take a look at months of inventory, for example, you can compare it to, say, a car dealership that had 100 cars, but they only had maybe 10 customers walk in every single month. Then naturally, the cars would continuously be up for sale. And it's the same way with the housing market. So the lower this number is, the months of inventory, the more of a seller's market it is. And the higher the months of inventory is, the more of a buyer's market it is. And given that the months of inventory is this high, I think it's safe to say that we probably shouldn't see values appreciate too much from now until the end of the year. And according to this TD article here, Housing on Shaky Foundation Amid Tariff Turbulence, they similarly mentioned that we may see a notable rebound in home sales and average prices in 2026. And perhaps because of this and because of many other similar headlines mentioning that the prices shouldn't rebound until 2026, we're starting to see homeowners had made a couple of price reductions to their listings already, and they've suddenly just taken their listing off the market. It actually happened. There was a specific property that one of my clients was interested in. We were monitoring the listing to see if they would reduce the price even more, and then suddenly the listing was taken off the market. And so I called the listing agent and had asked them, why did the seller decide to take the listing off the market, and should it be coming back? And the agent just said to me, Michael, we've taken it off the market. We weren't getting any showings or any activity. We're most likely going to wait until next year. So a piece of advice I can give to all the homeowners out there that have their listing sitting on the market, if it's not getting much activity, you may either want to consider relisting at a different time or to make a price reduction. And of course, speak with your agent about this. Hopefully your agent is as professional as I am and knows how to market your property extensively. Because if your listing is one of the many homes out there that's sitting, no showings, no offers, likely you're just contributing to our higher months of inventory, and this is nor helping buyers or sellers, because buyers are wondering, why is that house up for sale for so long? As always, there are listings that are selling over asking price in select pockets, but one of the major questions that I like asking buyers if they are going to transact in this market is how long they see themselves living in that particular home, or if they're buying it for an investment purpose, because if they're buying a property and only staying there for 3 to 5 years, it may not financially make sense for them. Or are they buying the property as an investment? What's happening right now, as shown in this article here, there's a huge share of Canadian landlords say that they're now losing money on renting. And one-bedroom renters in the city of Toronto are currently paying $130 less than what they were paying compared to a year ago, and they're paying $7 less per month than the previous month. So what that tells us is that you can't just necessarily buy a property and assume that the rent will increase, because we had all thought that in the past, and that may have caused a lot of investors to get in the market, but now they're struggling to make their payments. Although one of the predictions that I'll make is that our average rental price will increase, I'm also expecting the number of transactions per month to slightly increase to about 6,000 to 7,000 per month for the next few months. I'm as well predicting that our average price had increased by 1% during the month of April, and I expect similarly that the month of May and the month of June see the average price increase by 1%. Of course, make sure to stay tuned for my next video where I'm going to go over the April numbers, which would have been reported by then. If you are considering buying or selling, make sure to call me. And if you're a real estate agent looking for a great brokerage, make sure to reach out to me to learn more about what eXp Realty can offer you as far as coaching, mentorship, and tools to support you with your business. I really appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you next time.